Brothers, I'm bringing horror movies again. Today, it's still the American Horror Story series, Oz. A boy heard strange noises while sleeping. He quickly got up and turned on the light, and found the sound came from behind the wall. So the boy told his mother about the sound, but when the mother came to the wall, but she didn't hear any strange sounds. Dame said the house had been built for decades. There must be some strange noises. Then she let Xiaote go to bed. The camera turns. Kuihua is a teacher, and Xiaote is her student, because it was time for physical education class. Kuihua asked Xiaote why he didn't go out to play. Xiaote just said he was in a bad mood, but didn't mention that he had just been bullied by the bully. Time quickly came to the evening. Xiaote heard the sound again when he was sleeping, and this time it called Xiaote's name. Xiaote was scared and called his father Dashan, but it was the same as last time. After Dashan walked into the room, the voice disappeared. Xiaote was sure that he did hear the voice, coming from behind the wall. Dashan guessed it was probably because of mice, so he put some rat poison in the thief's room. But the next night, the voice spoke again. He told Xiaote not to be afraid. He just wanted to chat with him, because Xiaote didn't have many friends at school, and was often bullied. He regarded this person as a tree hole, and he also gave Xiaote a suggestion to teach the bully a lesson. Teach the bully a lesson. The next day after school, Xiaote secretly followed the bully behind. Then when the bully was going down the stairs, pushed him from behind. The bully broke his leg on the spot, and became a second-class disabled. The scene changed. Dashan began to educate Xiaote. He said that in their family, no violence is allowed to solve problems. To make Xiaote remember it, Dashan locked him in a dark basement, and punished him to stay in the basement for 3 days. And just after Dashan left, Xiaote accidentally lifted a wooden box, and found a dungeon under the box. And there seemed to be something terrifying inside. The camera changed. Since Kuihua was worried about Xiaote's situation, she came to Xiaote's home for a home visit. It was Damai, Xiaote's mother, who opened the door. But she didn't seem to welcome Kuihua's arrival. Then they quarreled when talking about Xiaote. At this time, Dashan also picked up a hammer. Fortunately, Kuihua noticed the strangeness of this family, and quickly got up to leave. But before leaving, she heard the sound of a door being slammed, and the sound was from Zhao Shuai. Kuihua asked Dashan what happened. Dashan said it was the sound of the washing machine, and quickly sent Kuikui away. On the third day, Dashan released Xiaote from the basement. Xiaote said he realized his mistake, and would change it in the future. Dashan and his wife were very relieved. After sending Xiaote to the room to sleep, they also went back to their room to rest. But not long after closing the door, Xiaote immediately got up from the bed, and came to the wall. The voice said he was worried about Xiaote, asking him where he had been all these days. Xiaote said he was locked in the basement by his parents. The voice told Xiaote to beware of Dashan and his wife, saying they were duplicitous, and he was a bad guy. Then Xiaote asked to meet him. The voice said there was a hole behind the wallpaper. You can see me by lying there. Then Xiaote lifted the paper, and looked through the hole. But then, he saw a terrifying eye appear inside. Yin Sheng told Xiaote not to be afraid, saying she was actually Xiaote's sister, because her parents disliked her appearance, so they locked her up. She also said that the missing girl in town was killed by the mountain couple, and the body was buried in the back garden. But because of her sister's terrifying appearance, Xiaote refused to believe it. Then he hid under the covers and went to sleep. But it didn't take long. He heard someone knocking on the door, and then the door opened by itself. Xiaote suddenly saw Damai walking past him, but he didn't respond to her calls. And then, Xiaote suddenly found Dashan standing beside him, with his eyes blinking constantly.
What you've done to your mother, Peter!
Peter looked at the door again. Damai pounced on him like a demon. The scene changed. It turned out to be a nightmare of Xiaote. But this dream also woke Xiaote up. So while Damai was doing the laundry, he came to the garden with a shovel to dig. After a few shovels, he really found a skeleton. Xiaote was terrified. He planned to ask his head teacher Kuihua for help, and quietly went to Dame's room and picked up the phone. But the moment he dialed, Dame came to the back somehow, and angrily took Xiaote back to his room. but Damai accidentally noticed a hole under Zhao Ti's feet. Then Damai seemed to have become a madman, saying it's not good, and said her father would come back to punish him later. It's night. Zhao Te saw Dashan and his wife, and didn't know what they were talking about, and they were very emotional. Then he called Zhao Te over for dinner. The family of 3 sat at the same table. Then Dashan found that he and Damai were enjoying it, but the porridge in the thief's bowl was untouched. Damai also said that today's porridge has a special fragrance, but he didn't add any seasonings. He remembered the rat poison he bought last time. Dashan instantly had a bad feeling. He quickly grabbed Zhao Te, asking him what he had done. Zhao Te said he put rat poison in the bowl. Dashan felt like the world was falling apart and quickly asked Damai to call 120 for help. Then his stomach started to hurt, but when Damai picked up the phone, she found that the phone line had been cut by Zhao Ti. Then Dashan spat a mouthful of blood on the table. Seeing this, Damai and rushed towards Zhao Ti with a kitchen knife. But the moment he grabbed Zhao Te, he also had an effect and spat out a mouthful of old blood. Seeing this, Zhao Te pushed Damai down the stairs. Then he took the key from Damai's waist and prepared to save his sister.
上阿泰 ，Don't let you air the sister out.
Despite Damai's repeated obstruction, Zhao Te still moved the big clock in front of him and opened the iron door behind with the key. As the iron door moved slowly, an eerie laughter came from inside. Ha ha ha! Zhao Te was so scared that he quickly ran into the room. He didn't expect that. His sister turned out to be such a terrifying monster. Just as his sister was about to open the door and rush in, there was a knock on the door outside. It was the school bully who came with some thugs, planning to take revenge on Zhao Te for this kick. Seeing the door open to them, and the thugs broke in fiercely. Since they couldn't find Zhao Te for a while, they started banging gongs and drums in the house, while Baji was playing the piano frantically. A shadow rushed past him from behind, and then a tuft of hair appeared on the piano. Baji wanted to go up and see what happened, but in the next second, a pair of hands reached out. Others were attracted by the noise. Meanwhile, Xiao Ba also discovered the corpse hidden in the cabinet. Then Rabbit Head screamed and ran out, saying he saw something terrifying, but was then dragged away by being rubbed against the wall. Xiao Ba was scared and rolled and crawled, but he didn't expect to fall into the monster's arms. When the last man came to check, the monster pounced on him and tore him apart, and this scene was also seen by Zhao Te under the bed. He finally knew why Dashan locked his sister up. Seeing his sister climb onto the bed, the thief lowered his head silently.
When you were born, they were so happy when I was born. They screamed. So Daddy made me a pet, and he made me a cage. While you were whining in this one bed.
I was suffering among carvers and rats. My sister has always been jealous of Zhao Te, because he was enjoying the love of his parents all the time. While I was born, I was locked in a dark dungeon, but in order to repay Zhao Te for letting him out, she gave him a jack-o'-lantern with a human head. Then he locked Zhao Te in the dungeon. The scene changes. Kuihua came to Zhao Ti's house because she received a call during the day and was always worried about Zhao Ti. So she decided to come and find out what happened. But Kuihua not only found that Zhao Ti's door was unlocked, and it was a mess inside. Kuihua guessed that it must have been a burglary. She picked up her phone to call 911, but a tuft of hair next to it caught her attention. Kuihua wanted to go up and see what was going on, but suddenly her right leg was scratched. Seeing the monster crawling towards her, Kuihua thought he was playing cosplay. She hurried to the door and planned to leave first, but then she heard Zhao Ti's cry for help. Then Kuihua hurried up and found a hand of the thief sticking out of the hole. She quickly used something to block the door and started to smash the wall when her sister was approaching from the other side. Kuihua also successfully rescued Zhao Te. Then they opened the door and walked out of the house. But Zhao Te, who was walking behind, was pulled in by his sister again. When Zhao Te woke up again, he was locked in a 10-meter deep pit. And this deep pit, where Dashan used to imprison his sister. Then, Gigi crawled towards Zhao Te. After more than 10 years in the dungeon, taught him how to crawl like a spider. At this moment, Zhao Kang finally saw his sister's entire face. He was almost scared to faint. At this moment, Kuihua came with an iron rod. When she just walked down the stairs, she was scratched by claws. Kuihua quickly climbed to the wall. Looking at the terrifying face of the opponent, Kuihua turned her neck and prepared to wait for death. But unexpectedly, Xiaotai grabbed his sister's long hair and started to climb up little by little. Then he managed to and held onto his sister's side tightly. Looking at the immobile monster, Kuikui took an iron rod and smashed it. After a few hits, the sister, who was freed, quickly got into the dungeon. At the same time, Xiaotai lowered the iron door, locking his sister in. However, just as Xiaotao thought it was over, his sister said something terrifying to him.
Do you really think this is gonna keep me down here? Every night when you are in bed, he wonders if he locked the door.
So whenever Xiaotai went to sleep, he would hear noises coming from the room, and there are scary shadows wandering at the door, and this illusion will accompany him for the rest of his life. And the movie ends here.